Ash have returned with a new album, Bruised with Heartache but brimming with cracking guitar pop. It was like Derry Girls. It was so normal that you ignored it. Ash's bass player Mark Hamilton is recalling his time growing up in Northern Ireland in the 80s and 90s. I think we've always had a sense of escapism in music growing up in the North. Music was our vehicle to escape 9 to 5 and whatever nonsense was going on up there. From a very young age it was always our dream to be in a band and go off and travel the world, so I guess even still, we're in our 40s now and I've got 2 kids, but the band is still a way to escape. It is just over 20 years since the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, and Ash, the young Downpatrick band who were then still in their early 20s, found themselves at the heart of the drama at a time when hope and history rhymed with the signing of the GFA in Belfast. 20 years later, the promises of that historic day are looking depressingly empty, and please no cash for Ash puns, but Hamilton and his bandmates, drummer Rick McMurray and ever-youthful frontman Tim Wheeler, are still lashing out buzzy and melodic guitar music. Hamilton and Wheeler have lived in New York for 13 years and McMurray is long domiciled in Scotland, but ask them about their memories of that glorious Good Friday in Belfast in 1998 and the memories tumble out. We did that gig around the agreement and it's the 20th anniversary of that last April, so it's a shame that there's not more to celebrate with the state of the government, says Wheeler soberly. We've done a few interviews around the anniversary and we were asked what it was like doing gigs before and after the agreement, and you look back and you think, what was normal for us as kids, says McMurray. It was going up to Belfast and getting stopped at army checkpoints just to go into a gig, and it's great that there's a generation of musicians in Northern Ireland in their late teens, early 20s who've never had to experience that. They've no idea what it's like, and that's something to be celebrated. Ash's new 7th album is called Islands, and no, it is not a direct reference to the historically painful relationship between Ireland and Britain. The title comes from places much further afield for the well-traveled band. We'd just finished our last tour of Japan, a place where we'd toured over 20 times but never got any time to actually see much of it, says Wheeler. So I made a little pilgrimage to the island of Naoshima, which is this island town in Japan, Seto Inland Sea, that is known for its art museums. We did that gig around the agreement and it's the 20th anniversary of that last April, so it's a shame that there's not more to celebrate with the state of the government. Tim Wheeler: I really enjoyed being on my own in these really isolated places, so I decided to go to more islands. I went to Dea in Majorca where Robert Graves lived and Finn Regan wrote that great album, A 100 Acres of Sycamores. Kevin Ayers used to live there in the 70s. He also did another writing trip in Santorini and then he came closer to home and went to Lambay Island, which is just off the eastern coast of Dublin, where he spent another 10 days writing. We are so excited to unleash our new album, Islands, on the world. Available to stream and buy now at https://t.co/tweakeddesertisland sign of the hornspick.twitter.com/dq04b8paw9q Ash @ashofficial May 18, 2018 recorded in their own studio, Atomic Heart in New York, which has been their base for 12 years. Islands is one of Ash's most effervescent album in years. It sounds like the Beach Boys and the Ramones jamming with the undertones down among the dunes, a fizzy sugar bomb of great tunes primed for an endless summer. A lot of the time we all have different ideas about what to do with the songs, but this time we agreed really quickly what songs we wanted, says McMurray. It's always been my dream to have an album that is an intense burst of creativity, and we finally achieved that on this record. Some of the songs just sounded really great from the get-go and didn't need any production. All we have to do is replicate the sound of this in this rehearsal room right now, adds Wheeler. Island sounds like the Beach Boys and the Ramones jamming with the undertones down among the dunes, a fizzy sugar bomb of great tunes primed for an endless summer. The songs are simple but they've got everything you need, interesting melodies and hooks, so we didn't need to make things too fancy. The expletive heavy buzzkill also features Damien O'Neill and Mickey Bradley of The Undertones, a fellow Northern Irish act who have always been a key influence on Ash, but at its heart, Islands is a breakup album. Incoming Waves is a bit of tearjerker that echoes the emotional pull of Wheeler's solo album Lost Domain, which was about his late father. Lost Domain was so cool because it was a whole journey and a narrative, Wheeler says. And there is a similar thing going through this record. Incoming Waves really reminds me of Dea and Majorca a lot. I'd say 3/4 of the songs are autobiographical, but I kind of embellish them as well. Most of this record is about a particular girl. But it was a few years ago, so it's all okay now. That's the trouble with writing breakup songs. You tend to dwell on things longer than you would have, but then the benefit is you get to understand things and move on. It definitely got to the point 2 years later where I thought I definitely shouldn't be working on this song. I should have been done with this a year ago, with an upside-down picture of Skellig featuring on the album cover and a song entitled It's a Trap. Islands bristles with Star Wars references, another link to Ash's early years. But ask the trio if The Last Jedi should be struck from the SW canon, and there is much dissent. Yes, says Rick abruptly and walks off. I've got some problems with it, but I still liked it, says Hamilton. I've a serious problem that Yoda was able to use lightning to burn a tree down, because that means he could have intervened at any point, so that just doesn't make any sense. I'd say 3/4 of the songs are autobiographical, but I kinds of embellish them as well. Most of this record is about a particular girl. But it was a few years ago, so it's all okay now. That's the trouble with writing breakup songs. I liked it, yeah, says Wheeler. The next one is going to be interesting because it's going off into new territory with new characters. The Force Awakens was cool, but the repetition of plot from the old Star Wars movies was a bit much. Right now though, island life is back on the trio's minds. Ash are planning a trip back to Lambay to shoot a Father Ted version of recent single Buzzkill, only with all those F-bombs replaced with some full-throated effects. We actually ordered 3 priest suits the other day. Smiles Wheeler. We're actually going back to Lambay Island just to film some stuff and have a bit of a laugh so we can pretend we're on Craggy Island. Alan Court Coraline Islands is out now. Ash play BBC Biggest Weekend in Belfast on Saturday, May 26th, and the Revival Festival, Listowel, August 11th.